Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got the tank review for the brand new American Tier 7 Premium Light Tank, the M42 Duster. Now if you do like the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe down below as it really does help out the channel. And yes, the Duster, it is the tank that everybody got for free for completing the season passes through the celebrations thing that's been going off for the whole year. Or you got a discount on it depending on how many of the seasons you completed. And on the whole, it's a pretty fun little light tank. It's got a dual 40mm cannon that absolutely shreds. It fires so quickly, and you never really feel like you're out of the game because you are constantly firing in this vehicle. The downside is, naturally, it's got fairly low penetration at 120mm of pen, meaning that you really have to know where you're shooting to be able to actually do damage. And the one thing that is key about this vehicle is knowledge. You've really got to know exactly where you're going to be shooting things when you're going against a target. You've got to know exactly where you're going to be shooting it, penning it, and if you can pen it in certain areas. Because there is tanks that this thing will face, especially some of the tier 8s and quite a few of the tier 9s, that you just won't do anything in this vehicle. This vehicle will not pen them, and you sit there going, oh, I can't do much in this situation. But on the whole, if you're top tier especially, you can pretty much do something all the time. And it's just about knowing what to do with the old M42 Duster. I've had a lot of fun with it, generally. It's been a fun tank to play. It's fun to get the most out of it because, like I say, it takes quite a bit to be able to know what to do with the guns. And, yeah, generally, I've really enjoyed it. So, without further ado, let's have a look at the statistics of the vehicle. It's got a 72.4 km/h top speed with a 23 km/h reverse speed, 500 horsepower engine, which is 22.12 horsepower per ton ratio, meaning you do get to 72 km/h quite easily. If you run the traction system, you will get to 79 km/h. You've got 20% internal fire chance, which is on the higher end of fire chances, meaning that if you do get shot in the back end and your engine gets damaged, this thing does like to burn, so bear that in mind. 920 hit points means you've got a decent slab of hit points. Actually, I think it's one of the best hit point totals for a light tank at tier 7. Could be wrong, don't quote me on that. 56 degrees a second on the hull rotation speed is very quick, and that means this thing turns on to sixpence very fast. Ground resistances do not hold this vehicle back whatsoever. 327 meters of steel concealment is pretty nice. You can get that down to a decent level. With 390 meters of view range, meaning you've got fantastic view range on this light tank, meaning you'll get some good spotting if you manage to get yourself into bush locations. Although generally it seems to be a little bit difficult sometimes to get this thing into bush locations because it seems to get outspotted quite a lot. But it is a rather tall target. You got 40 degrees a second on the turret rotation speed, which means the turret rotation speed is slower than the hull, so bear that in mind that if you're going around someone, that you must keep them on the same side as what you are turning the tracks, as the turret will really struggle to keep up. That's something that you might want to help out on this vehicle. It's down to you, really. You've got 0.9 accuracy during rotation, which isn't atrocious, but it's also not great, but you can knock that down to a very good level. 85 degrees of max elevation is a thing. It can look straight up into the sky, which is quite funny, as it was, you know, an anti-air gun. You got 3 degrees of depression, though, and that is atrocious, and it really struggles. Any kind of bump, it's a tall tank. This tank struggles to be able to get the gun down on target to be able to actually shoot things. You really need flat surfaces to be able to hit targets somewhere you want to pen them, generally. It's one of those things. You've got 2-second reload time, which you knock down to about 1.5 seconds, 1 second, something like that. It fires ridiculously fast, as you've got that 128 RPM, 4.5k DPM base, but that's if you can use it. Like I say, the penetration really does hold it back. 0.28 accuracy at 100 meters is fantastic. It's a super duper accurate tank. 3.04 accuracy during movement is atrocious, absolutely atrocious. You really want to help that out if you can. With a 1.7 second aim time, meaning this gun does aim in super duper quickly though, which is very nice for it. 8 shots per clip with a 0.25 second intra-clip reload means it goes boom, 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 and it does fire pretty quickly, this Duster. You've got 120mm of penetration on the standard AP rounds and 26 penetration on the HE rounds, which means the HE rounds are fairly useless in this vehicle, because 26mm of pen will pen very little. So you're just best to take full AP. And like I say, 120mm of penetration on the AP rounds is low, and it will struggle to pen quite a few vehicles. So you've really got to know exactly where you're shooting at people to be able to pen them. You'll still be able to pen most people in the rear. You'll be able to pen most people in the sides. There are just some vehicles, and especially some of the tier 9 heavies, that you'll sit there going, I can't pen this whatsoever. This is poor. This is annoying, sorry. You know? So that's just something to bear in mind. You've got 875 meters a second shell velocity on the AP rounds as well, which is below average, so you do have to give a good amount of lead to hit the target. And when you are shooting at moving targets in this vehicle, with it firing quite quickly, it can be quite difficult to make sure you're hitting most of your shots. And in terms of a silver earn rate, it's got 140% silver earn rate, which is actually pretty decent for a tier 7 tank, so it will make okay-ish credits. So, what do I run in terms of a crew and equipment? Well, I've put the crew in the T71 CMCD. Let's put it back into the Duster. And on this crew, I do run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Camouflage Expertise, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun with Muffled Shot. I run Camouflage Expertise and Muffled Shot to be able to keep my camo down as low as possible and reduce the effect of firing on my camo so that I can use the decent camo we can get it down to and just keep farming away without getting spotted. The Steady Aim, the Run and Gun, and Snapshot to keep the gun as accurate as humanly possible, because it is atrocious if you don't help it, so I like to make sure that all of those are going to help the gun and make it pretty good. But it's down to you. You can get the accuracy during rotation down to quite low, so you could definitely drop Snapshot and run something like Green Thumb to increase your camo while in a bush. Run Supply Conservation to get your food back quicker. Maybe you could run Clutch Braking, or Rapid Aim especially, because the turret traverse is poor. You could run Rapid Aim to make the turret traverse better and get it up towards where the tracks are. It is really down to you and how you play the vehicle as to what you want to have it set up like. And then in terms of equipment, I do run food naturally, as it is always very, very helpful. The camouflage net to get the camo down to a very good level so I can scout and stay unspotted for longer. The gun stabilizer to get the accuracy during movement and rotation down as low as possible, so that, again, we can get that accuracy during movement down low, because it is poor if we don't help it, and that means I'll be very, very good at shooting on the move. And optics to be able to get the view range up as high as possible so that I can play that light tank role and get some good assistance damage. Now, you could, if you aren't that bothered about shooting on the move and you're just going to put yourself in a good position to be firing at people while stationary, you could drop the gun stabilizer quite easily and run the traction system to go at 79 kilometers an hour so that you'll have that super speed. It is really down to you and how you feel comfortable playing the tank. I'm happy with the 72 kilometers an hour top speed, same as it is on the Type 64. Because it's just a nice top speed to have, and then I'm happy at making the gun handling generally better and the view range up to that very good 499 that you can see right there. Let's have a quick look at the modules for you, because I know people like to see that. That's where the engine is on the M42 Duster, and that's where the ammo racks are. If you want to damage the ammo rack on this vehicle, shoot just below the turret, and you will damage the ammo racks and possibly blow the ammo racks as well, which is, you know, always something that you want to try and do, because you can kill someone in one shot at that point. And that's where the crew sit as well. So let's have a look at the statistics of the vehicle now it is fully kitted out. So as you can see with this tank, we've got the ground resistances down a little bit. We've not really aimed at helping that though. The camouflage is now at 275 meters of still concealment with 499 meters of view range, meaning that near 500 meters of view range is fantastic for a tier 7 light tank, and it means you will spot a lot of targets very, very easily, and you'll be able to get some good assistance damage. We've got 43.44 degrees a second on the turret rotation speed. We haven't really helped it out that much, but the general crew skills and stuff do help it. 1.62 second reload now, which is, yeah, super duper fast, but generally, again, we haven't really aimed to help that, we've just got that. Then we've got 0.48 accuracy during rotation, which is super duper low now with the help from all the gun perks and from the gun stabilizer, same as the 1.73 accuracy during movement. That is a lot better than the 3 point something that we had it originally, so that means that the aim circle isn't going to bloom out quite that much. With 0.23 accuracy at 100 meters as well, that is absolutely fantastic, and it means that this gun is super duper accurate. With a 1.57 second aim time, it means this gun will aim in super quickly, and it is very, very nice for that. Now, the one thing I've just thought of with this vehicle, because of how fast the reload is, there is one perk that is a bit superfluous for you, which is rapid aim. Rapid loading, I should say. You could definitely drop rapid loading on the Duster. If you aren't bothered about crew training for another tank and you don't want to have to keep swapping out with gold, and you want a crew that's specific for this tank, because some people will just use crews from others and just crew train, right? And so they don't want to swap around skills. Rapid loading is superfluous for this tank because it reloads so fast anyway. You're probably best to drop rapid loading and run something like rapid aim to make the turret traverse better, or any of the other perks that I said earlier on, or maybe even something like fire prevention or firefighting, because like I say, it does like to get set on fire. So there's plenty of things that you could run this vehicle, but you could definitely drop rapid loading to be able to make the reload better, because you don't really need to make the reload better on this vehicle. But there we go. That's one of those things that just came to my brain while I was looking at the stats. There we go. But yeah, that's the M42 Duster. It is, like I say, a pretty fun tank. I've definitely enjoyed playing this vehicle. It's one of those that you really have to know what you're doing to get the most out of it. The guns are pretty nice to use in general. It's quite a satisfying tank to use, especially when you start being able to farm up with it. And yeah, it's one of those tanks that everyone basically got for free if you completed all the season passes. So without further ado, what I'm going to do now is send you into the replays where you can watch this tank in action, see how it handles, and see what you're going to be playing with in general. So as always, everybody, I'll see you in the replays. So here we are in the replays with the M42 Duster, and this first game we are on this map, which is Kaunas. And on Kaunas, what I want to do is go to the position at E7, because I can try and spot the people that cross the AB line and get free easy shots at them as they cross over. And you generally will get some nice easy shots into the side, which is what the M42 Duster wants, because 120mm of pen is a little bit low, and yeah, like I say, it just means that it struggles to pen certain vehicles. And with the experience of what I've had with it, I've basically not seen tier 5s in this vehicle, nor have I seen tier 9s. Pretty much all of my matchmaking has been tier 8. I've just seen tier 8 non-stop all the time. And so you want to be thinking about positions you're going to take to be able to put yourself in a position to shoot things in the side, because generally, especially when you're getting against some of the tier 8, most of the tier 8s, you're not going to pen a lot of them frontally, so you want to be in those supporting side shot positions. So as you can see, we've managed to spot the opposition Duster. We've got a few shots into the Challenger, and we're just trying to keep the shots flying into the Tiger 1. He gets tracked and his engine gets damaged, and we blow that Tiger 1's ammo rack. Because we know exactly where the Tiger 1's ammo rack is. It is in that center point directly below the turret. So if we're pummeling shots into that guy, I mean, that's something that could be quite useful for this vehicle, is running something like Deadeye, so you can increase the chance of doing module damage. Because if you're putting shots in that quickly, that many shots into the same spot, especially where ammo racks are, you could blow the ammo racks quite easily. And that could be something that's an asset for the old M42. So far we're up to 1400 assistance with 1108 damage, which we've managed to get on most of the targets as they were crossing the open. We did get a lot of spotting on that Duster, and I'm just being a bit hesitant about moving forward at this moment in time, because that T69 is a little bit scary. I can pen it in the side and rear, but in the front I'm not going to pen it, and if he decides to turn around, he can quite easily clip me out, and I just don't want that. Two of our guys are pushed very aggressively, though, which means that T69 ends up getting shut down, and it is the time to move forward and try and get in behind the enemy team. Because the enemy team is starting to crumble. We're 12 minutes and 44, so, well, going down. I mean, we're, what, less than 3 minutes? Yeah, less than 3 minutes. And their team has got 6 tanks left. So we're just trying to get shots into the Oni, but you just saw the awkwardness of the 3 degrees of gun oppression there. We hit one little bit on the ridgeline, and we just couldn't get the gun down. We're now looking for shots into the side of this Oni, and we couldn't quite find the shots to hit his side to be able to pen it, because we don't have really enough penetration to go through the side of the Oni's turret. So we have really had to hit the side, but because of the awkward angle or position he was in, we couldn't just see him, sadly. So they've only got 3 tanks left. We're going to get up behind this WZ-111 GFT. I'm aiming high because there's a likelihood I could ricochet off his ass. But if we hit that superstructure at the top end, I will pen that. And we did manage to get a couple of shots into him before he goes down. T77 left on the enemy team. He's the only one left alive. Again, I know I need to get round his side. He could kill me quite easily. But if I turn him to face me, my allies will be able to shoot him and I'll be able to get shots into his side, and that's exactly what happened. We finished with the 2 kills, 1480 damage, 1500 assistance, 3k combined, second class, 1256 base XP. Fairly average game there for the M42 Duster. And yeah, that's just the kind of game where you struggle to pen some things, but you get yourself in a good position where you can do some damage, you can spot a little bit, but it's not the best game in the universe. It's one of those games that you just don't feel like you can keep up with what's going off. But we're on to the second replay, and the second replay is Prokhorovka, and on Prokhorovka we want to go try and spot. So what we're going to do is push towards the bushes at E1. If I can get myself in those bushes, that would be great, because I can use the nearly 500 meters of view range that I've got, so that I can try and spot up the enemy team. But we get outspotted by the Falcon T92 and another M42 Duster, which getting outspotted by a Falcon T92 is probably going to be something that will happen, because he's got better camo than I've got, and he's also got view range that's on par, if not better than me as well, being a tier 8 light tank. So it's going to be a bit of a struggle. I'm just trying to keep the people like this M42 Duster lit up, because if they can die, that'd be great, because as always, the team that wins proc is the team with the best scouts, is the team with the best vision. And by scouts, it doesn't even have to be light tanks. It could be medium tanks or even heavy tanks. Tanks putting themselves in a position to be able to actually light up the enemy vehicles. Those that put themselves in the best place to get the vision on proc generally will win you the game. Because if you have a team that decides to just camp all the time on proc, it just goes downhill very quickly. So I'm trying to get to my bush, and just before I get to my bush, I get spotted up again. We have spotted a lot of the enemy team though, so the damage is starting to flow, and we're just trying to keep ourselves moving so that the enemy team have a very, very difficult tank target to hit, because naturally, if you stop dead, you're going to make it easy for them to just go, aha, light tank, snap dead, and you'll sit there crying because you blew up. But I'm still detected and spotted, and I'm like, why am I still spotted? Okay, there we go. We've gotten unspotted. I want to try and get back into the bush again, because the moment that the enemy team start to fire, I should be able to get some assistance, which would be good. We spot the M42 Duster, and I decide, okay, you know what? I want to try and get some shots into the Duster and then get rid of him. I could have stayed in that bush, but I felt like he might push forward and just spot me anyway. So I was trying to be a bit more proactive, and by just pushing down the moment we started to take shots at the Duster, we managed to get rid of both of their Dusters there, and also got a few shots downrange at the, I think it was the AG-88 that was down there spotted as well, meaning we're up to 2.5k assistance, 282 damage, so we're not on for the best damage game in the universe, but we've got a pretty good total so far for spotting. And I'm just trying again to help my team out. We've got a lot of people on this 1-2 line, so if I can get the targets lit up, we can get some juicy spotting. So we've come into the bowl, and the bowl is a dangerous place for a light tank, realistically, because if something YOLO's in to get you, it's going to struggle, and if you're not really spotting anything down the 1-2 line from the bowl, it just becomes a bit awkward. So I decided to take the risk. I'm going to go after the setter. Now, it's a bit risky to do that, because it's quite easy to get shot from behind, but this setter's decided he's YOLOing through to try and go after our arty, and, well, Mr. Setter, I'm just not allowing it. This is not allowed, sir. And you can see, with the shell velocity the way it is, we really have to give some lead to be able to hit this guy. So, it's just one of those things that you just got to keep giving the lead. Keep giving the lead. He ends up taking a hit. I put the shots into the back and finish off that setter. And you saw, just because of the way that the gun fires, it can be awkward to hit those shots. Which is why you really want to help the gun accuracy as much as possible, because we were hitting shots there. We just weren't aiming it quite well enough, as we weren't aiming far enough in front of the setter. So that was really half and half. But if you don't help the accuracy of the gun, yeah, you miss most of those shots in general. So the Tiger one at the back of the map gets spotted. We keep just firing shots at him. He gets unspotted, so we're going to fire at the SU-152, which we can pen quite easily. The artillery drives out in front of the gun. It's like, hello, Mr. Artillery. Thank you very much for that. IS Desmond 2-2 in the corner at K2. And I was thinking about going after him, trying to get shots into his side, but I thought, no, you know what's actually better? Trying to light up anyone else that was with the heavy tank at H0. And then I can shoot the tank and anything else that's there in the side quite easily. As the Leo gets spotted, we put some shots on the move into the Leo. Tried to get a couple into the side of the Skoda T56, but, well, we sadly missed those shots. And the hope is that he does not turn towards us, which he starts to do. I can't pen the Skoda T56 like that. I was really hoping he'd stay sideways on, but he turned towards the danger, and therefore we can't pen him because 120 pen is just not going to pen it. We're trying to get some shots into the Tiger 1, but we can't quite find those. Can we get some shots into the Skoda T56? No, we can't. And we finished the game with a fairly average damage total at 1500, but 3.5k assistance. So 5k combined for a tier 7 light tank, we'll take it. Finished with the 4 kills, 1573 damage, 3.4k assistance. The Puskuchis medal, the first class, with that 1618 base XP. A really nice game there for the M42 Duster on Prokhorovka. And now we're on to the third replay. And the third replay, we're here on this map, which is Serene Coast. And on Serene Coast, I'm thinking, right, where do I want to go? Because I don't really want to go to the position at D1C1. Because I don't have the gun depression. 3 degrees of gun depression is just not going to go well. And there's looking into the sky. Look, that's as far as that tank will look into the sky. Just like the Death Toaster. The Death Toaster can do that as well, since it was an anti-aircraft gun as well. And it's always one of those things that's quite funny. It's funny to do it with the Bayer as well, right? So, we're just taking a position on the train tracks. Because I can push down the train tracks and try and spot their campers. But the Liberté's got into a rather unorthodox position. And you can see, even against the Liberté, which isn't the most well-armoured tank in the universe, 120 pen is struggling. So we try and get a couple of shots into the Hammer. We pen 2 and end up with 71 damage. We're just trying our best to pen this Hammer, taking the risk to get the shots into him. But it's not going quite well. The one thing that the Duster can be good at is clearing buildings, so destructible cover. This tank can be very good at it, and that's exactly what we're doing now. I've got a lot of rounds. I'm just going to end up destroying all the destructible cover to see if I can find shots at this Hammer, because if I can knock down the destructible cover, get shots into his side, that'll be easy penetrations for me. And we end up lighting that Hammer up again. And I'm just looking for that top bar of the Hammer. We can't find it. We find one shot into the side. And you can see, again, just how awkward it is to actually be able to pen things. Even a Hammer or a Tiger 1 in general, that's not really got much armor. It's got 100mm of thickness on the armor. It is still a struggle. And at the distance, because of the penetration drop, yeah, we are starting to struggle to pen things at this distance. Which is just awkward. And this tank can be awkward for those reasons, generally. That, again, you have to know what you're firing at. You have to know exactly where you're going to be putting the shots into on a vehicle so that you can actually get damage and get them out of the game. So we were positioning ourselves in the perfect place to get shots into the STA-1, but the STA-1 ends up getting shut down. There's a Bulldog I'd like to shoot, but I'm not going to focus on the Bulldog. I'm going to go for the Balsig. Mr. Balsig is a tank that I know I can pen, so I just want to keep putting shots into the back end of him if I can, so I can damage his engine, stop him dead. But he gets rammed by the Canonian Jagdpanzer 105. Now we've got the side of the Hammer. Can we blow the ammo rack? Damage the ammo rack with a couple of shots. He's staying still. There goes the head. And that's what I'm talking about with the Tiger. If you shoot it directly below the turret in the midsection, I have no idea why that Hammer just sat there and took it. But we damaged the ammo rack with the first couple of shots, and then the second couple of shots ended up taking the head off for over 1,000 damage, which is great. We're going in on the Liberté now to try and get shots into his side and rear. I know this guy can do quite a bit of damage to me, but I can do quite a lot to him. We get lucky that he ends up just doing track damage only, and that's where our 3 degrees of gun depression when we got quite close into the Liberté was a bit awkward, as that guy ended up just being below our gun, and we couldn't get any damage on him because it was like, oh, I can't get the gun down. You really need to keep a bit of distance between you and your targets because of that 3 degrees of gun depression and being able to actually get the gun physically down into a position to shoot things. So I'm pushing to try and get some shots into the heavy tank and the light tank, and then we find an IKV-90B. Now this guy's got good DPM, so I've just got to be very, very careful of that. The Bulldog comes in, the IKV ends up shooting and doing track damage only. Now the Bulldog's gone and he was the one that was pressuring us. I'm just going to keep putting his shots into the IKV, and I thought maybe I'd get all the shots off to shut him down before I take any damage myself. But sadly, it ends up being the case that we end up taking a hit from that IKV, and we do get to finish it off though. T-32 starts looking at us, and I'm like, no, I can pen a T-32 in the side, and my whole plan there was thinking of YOLOing around behind him. But, yeah, he immediately turned his attention towards me, and yeah, I was not doing that. Nope, nope, nope. So we get up behind this T-32, the Projectile 54 gets shut down, aiming for that engine deck rear area of the T-32, and we shut down that Tier 8 American heavy tank. Finished the game with a pretty decent total there for the Duster. We finished with the epic victory, 3 kills, 3.5k damage, 1744 base XP, which is the first class. And yeah, pretty decent total there for the M42 Duster on Serene Coast. Which again, it showed the nice flexibility in the mobility and the camo and stuff like that. And how satisfying it is to be able to just pummel shots into people with this 40mm autocannon. But also how awkward it can be shooting at targets in the amount of rounds that you do pump out. And you just don't pen. And you sit there going, come on, just let me penetrate the tank so I can do the damage, please. And yeah, it can be a bit frustrating in that regard. But now we're into the fourth and final replay of this video in the Duster. And we're on this map, which is Murovanka. Now, Murovankas are going to be a good map for us because there's lots of open space to use our 72 kilometers an hour mobility. 499 meters of view range means we'll be able to get some good spotting out on these maps. And also we can get ourselves into just some good positions and use the bushes to have some pretty decent camo. Now, since we were on top of the ridgeline there, we got spotted by the LTTB when we started shooting at that IS. If that LTTB hadn't been there, we probably wouldn't have got spotted, but it is what it is. I'm just going to try and poke up on top of the ridgeline again to see if I can spot the heavy tanks that we're crossing, because we have 1 or 2 tanks here, but we don't have that much support, so we've got to be very, very careful. I see a G-Saw in the middle. We find the KV-85, but we actually get proxied there by the Skoda T-56 who came in. So I pulled back so that I don't lose any more hit points. I'm thinking of trying to go get shots into the T-56, but again, I'm not going to pen that. Then we see a Comet, and it's like, hello, Mr. Comet. Don't mind if I do. So we're just going to pummel shots into the back of the Comet. You can see him going, what? What's happening? Aiming for the engine deck and the tracks, because I was kind of hoping to possibly damage his engine, set him on fire, or just blow his tracks off. And we actually did end up setting him on fire. G-Saw in the middle. I managed to get a couple of shots there into his side, but we take a hit from something over the back. So I decided to pull back and get myself safe. But then I'm looking at this G-Saw, and it's like, that G-Saw looks like he's YOLOing. Okay, I've got to get out. He misses a shot on the move. It's going to be difficult for this guy to actually hit us on the move, because that thing has terrible on the move accuracy. But he finally hits us, and then ends up getting shut down, because he's YOLO'd into basically the rest of my team. We're up to 1,064 damage with 1 kill. And again, I just want to be able to find a position to get some shots into the enemy team in a good flanking position. So we find the VK. We get some shots into the 3601H. He fires, which means I know I've got some time. We end up damaging his Armour, but just as I was keeping farming that VK there, their Duster comes in, and it's like, Mr. Duster, I don't want to start taking damage from you, because I know, having driven my Duster, just how fast we can rack up damage, and I don't want that to happen to me. So I get myself back behind the ridgeline where I can quite easily pull back and stay safe. Their Duster's pulling back along the sea line, so it looks like he might be coming for us down here. So we do have to be very, very careful of him just, again, full sending, because we don't want to die at this point. We're on 1,765 damage with 59 assistance, which is pretty good going. But while the Duster's distracted with our heavy tank, let's just see if we can get rid of him, because he is Danger Man Numero Uno. Numero Uno? Numero Uno! Yeah! Other languages, it's hard, bro. So he's the main man. We want to get rid of him, because again, if he decided to YOLO us in his Duster, he will shred us very, very quickly, just like we shredded him. So we got rid of the Duster. Now looking at shots into the Tiger 1. Always keeping my eye on the map there. That is what that is. Because we saw the Tiger 1 was on this side of the map. And so I wanted to get easy farming shots into his side, because I thought, well, the LTTB and the heavy tank are going to be distracted with all of our heavy tanks and TDs. But their LTTB actually charged in and tried to get the ram on us. Thankfully, we moved just in time, so we missed it. But we did get a fair bit of damage into that Tiger 1. There's also the VK3000, well, 3601H in the middle, which I'm going to try and get some shots into again. It's just how fast you can shred as Mr. 3601H gets shut down. 3.2k damage with 59 assistance. You saw a bit of the awkwardness of the 3 degrees of gun depression yet again there, though, because we weren't really on that much of an incline, but we couldn't actually get the gun down to shoot the VK3601H, which was a bit awkward. But there we go. They've only got 4 tanks left on the enemy team, a heavy tank, light tank, and 2 TDs. So what I'm going to try and do is get up behind them if I can. There's a Hellcat in the middle who is a 50-50 to kill us in one shot if he wants to shoot us. So we're going to go in on this guy and risk it for a biscuit. But he is stock. That is a 76mm gun on that guy. So I'm quite happy to just take the risk in getting rid of the American Tier 6 tank destroyer. The VK101P, I'm pretty much not going to pen. It is what it is. I'm just really not going to pen that thing that easily. So I ignore him and go for the vehicle where I will pen it, which is the SU-130PM. Again, if I can get up behind this guy, I will absolutely shred him, and that would be delightful. So we got detected as we went over, which made me think maybe the VK had shots at me, but he doesn't right now. The SU-130PM, we're up behind him. He's distracted by everybody else, and we get a good amount of damage into that guy before he gets shut down by the Batchat 12T. Now, with only one vehicle left, it's the VK101P. Again, I'm not really going to pen that guy, so my whole aim of this is just to blow his tracks off. Blow his tracks off and keep him pinned so that my team can farm him. We've got a lot of teams shooting at him, so I'm like, ha! Feed me the tracking assist, people. Let's go. Tracking assist. Slowly but surely, someone's fired HE at him. We're not getting the... I'm keeping his tracks blown off. I'm like, this is getting dangerous now. This is getting dangerous. Oh. But he finally gets shut down. And we get the tracking assist for it. That was why his moments was going, oh no, oh no. And we got shut down by the VK101P. But we did get the tracking assist, so we'll take it. 4,004 damage, 4 kills, 602 assistance, ace tanker, high caliber, Confederate, with that 1,914 base XP. A really nice game there for the M42 Duster, which is a tank that I've had quite a lot of fun with, to be fair. I've really enjoyed playing this vehicle. It does take a lot to get the most out of it, so a lot of people might not enjoy this vehicle, but for me, it was fun getting to grips with it and getting the most out of it. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
A great success!